Hey everybody. So obviously I'm not at school today, as you can tell by my voice. I've gone downhill. We'll just say that I've gone downhill. Um, so I feel like poop tonight, but I decided to come in, make a video for you guys. This is new content. This is not like some reused quarantine video. Look, I'm at the school. You get to see what my face looks like though. I got to goatee. Well, I took my mask off the other day and take a drink of water. So I was like, "You got a goatee?" Yeah. Got a hat on. I wear hats like outside of school. Cubs, shout out there. Um, but yeah, so gonna do a video going over the practice test. So here's what I would like you guys to do. I want you to get out your practice test just like we always do. I'm gonna go through question by question. Make sure that you have the correct answer for each question on there. I'm gonna put in the sub notes that if somebody looks like they're done way too early, I'm gonna do this key and then print it out, and I'm gonna tell the sub if somebody looks like they're done too early to ask them for their practice test, and you can check it against theirs to make sure that you've watched this video and to make sure that you've corrected all of your work. Okay, this is not a free day. This is not for you to just sit there and relax today. This is a day for you to study. Okay. Because again, this test, as I remind you all the time, this test is important. This test is the last grade for the year in terms of its 9 weeks grade. I know we have the exam after that. But the last summative grade of the year is an 80-point test. Last quiz was 40 points. It's an 80-point test. So make sure that you're giving this test. Make sure you're studying for this test, basically. And again on Monday, we'll be starting our exam review. Okay. Hey, everybody, try this for me. Do this. Thumbs up, pointer, then switch it, then switch it, and then switch it, and switch it, and switch it. See if you can do it. I really have to focus. Oh, I did it wrong. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know. You guys are gonna be sitting there like that. All right, so let's get to it. Everybody get out your practice tests, and then we'll go through some answers, shall we? Okay, I'm going to remove my face from the corner of the screen because I really don't look at myself. All right, so, just so you guys know, I did put the extra practice quizzes on the front table. So if you need an extra practice quiz or you'd like an extra practice quiz, by all means, go ahead and take one. If you take one, if you take the last one, please let the sub know, and so she can go down and make some more copies. All right, let's simplify this expression here. Now, when I ask you to simplify, remember there's a couple things that you have to do. You have to make sure that there's no common factors that are no perfect square factors, meaning I got to do this factor tree thing. Make sure that it doesn't have any variables that could be reduced down. Make sure that it doesn't have any fractions in the denominator, with square roots in the denominator. Make sure that everything is simplified down. A lot of the directions are just going to be to simplify, and you got to know what that means. I had a lot of people asking me, what's it mean to simplify? What does it mean to simplify? That means a lot of different things, okay? So here we go. Factor tree here, 2 and 49, and then 7 and 7. That would buddy up. So that gives me a 7 radical 2. There's my answer. Same thing here. I got to take 216, break down 216. Got my calculator here. 216 divided by 2 gives me 108. 2 and 108, and then that's 2 and 54, and that's 2 and 27, and that's 3 and 9, and then 3 and 3. So I've got a buddy set of 2s and a buddy set of 3s coming out. Now look here, I got a 2 and a 3 staying in, so I got a square root of 6. Again, they multiply. Then I've got a 6 coming out, but don't forget about the 5 that's already out there to make a total of 30 radical 6. Please don't say 11 radical 6. We multiply, not add, okay? All right, simplify the expression. 25, a to the 5th, b to the 6th. All right, so if I want to take the square root of 25, a to the 5th, b to the 6th, I got to first take the square root of 25. Nice thing is, a lot of people still try to factor tree this down, but that's a perfect square. So you bring out the 5, I've got a to the 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Buddies, buddies. Got 2 coming out, 1 staying in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Buddies, buddies, buddies. So 3 B's coming out. The only thing left over, the only thing that doesn't have a buddy, is this lonely 8. So 5a squared b to the third square root of a. Take a look here. Now, I had a lot of people questioning me on number 4 today. And obviously today is when I was seeing you last. They said, a lot of people said, oh, can't I divide by 3? Yeah, you can. You can. It'd make your life a little bit harder, and I'm going to show you. But the nice thing I can do here is if you recognize there's a square root in the denominator, a perfect square in the denominator, all you need to do is take the square root of 21 over the square root of 9, which is 3. Then you try to break down the square root of 21, but remember that's just 3 and 7. And that does not break down anymore. So that's my final answer. For those of you who wanted to reduce it by a factor of 3, which is completely fine, you would have gotten square root of 7 over 3. And then you break that. And then you can't leave a radical in the denominator. You would have had to rationalize the denominator. And I'll get to what that is here in a second as well. So you would have had a radical 21 over just a 3. Oh, wait, that's exactly what we had before. Okay. All right. So I'm going to treat this one, number 5. I'm going to do that same thing that I tried to do here, right at the very beginning. Sorry for my sniffling and everything. It's gross, I know. Square root of 250 over the square root of 81. Why am I taking the square root? Because I recognize that 81 is a perfect square. That's just 9. So let's break down 250 to see if there's any perfect squares in there. Well, that's 2 and 125, which is 5 times 25, which is 5 times 5. So I bring out the 5, and then a 10 is on the inside. 5 radical 10 over 9. There's my answer. Okay. Remember that if I've got variables in numerator and denominator, right, remember that you subtract them. So that's like an m to the 9th over m to the 1st. 9 minus 1 is 8. Now m to the 8th over 25, and take the square root of that whole thing. And when I take the square root of that whole thing, that's the square root of the top divided by the square root of the bottom. Now, m to the 8th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Buddies, 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 buddies. Now remember the trick, just divide that by 2. Just divide that by 2. M to the 4th over just 5. All right, there's 6. Here's number 7. Again, subtract exponents there. And look, 27 over 12, that can reduce down by a factor of 3. Divide top by 3, I get a 9. Divide bottom by 3, I get a 4. Y to the 2nd over y to the 6th. Now remember, y to the 2nd over y to the 6th, that would be like y to the negative 4th, which means it moves to the denominator as a positive. And then I take the square root of that. So again, reduce the fraction, then take the square root. Square root of 9 over the square root of 4y to the 4th, which is 3 over 2y squared. All right. Number 8. Okay, matching radical terms. I can subtract those. I got to make sure. Did I go from 6 to 8? Oh, no, I did 7. I'm sorry. I've got like radical terms, so remember I can just subtract those. That's negative 3 radical 2. Pretty simple there. Now, these at first glance, it's like, no, you can't add these together. But what if I break them down? That's 2 and 9 and 3 and 3. So buddy up. Don't forget the 4 that was already out there. That's a 4 times 3, which is 12 radical 2. This is 2 and 25, which is 5 and 5. Buddy up with the 5s, coming out with the 3, which is a 15. And then a 2 on the inside. Okay, now I can add these 27 radical 2. Okay. Again, pause where you need to and copy down the work if you need to. Again, you should be creating for yourself an answer key. Okay. All right. Number 10. I've got radical 12b plus 4 radical 75b minus 3 radical 48b. Okay, let's reduce it down. This is 2 and 6 and 2 and 3. So buddy up with the 2's. 3b staying in. Remember, if there's not a buddy to come out, you leave it on the inside. 75, that's 3 and 25, which is 5 and 5. So buddy up. Don't forget about the 4 that was already out there. That's 20 radical 3b. Okay, good. I've got 2 radical 3b's. Maybe that's my thing here. 2 and 24, 2 and 12, 2 and 6, 2 and 3. So buddy up, buddy up. I've got a 4 coming out with the 3 already out there. 12 radical 3b. So 22 minus 12 gets me a 10 radical 3b. 2 plus 20 is 22, minus 12 gets us back to 10 radical 3b. All right, here on number 11, I had a lot of people confused on number 11 on the quiz. A lot of people tried to add that 9 in. People, does 9 have a radical? No, does not have a radical. Perimeter is 9, excuse me, plus 2 radical 5, plus the radical 20. Let's break down the radical 20. That's 2 times 10 and 2 times 5. So 2 coming out. So that's 9 plus 2 radical 5 plus 2 radical 5. So this together makes 9 plus 4 radical 5. Can I make that 13 radical 5? No. 9 does not have a radical with it. You have to leave it separate. Okay, halfway home, folks. All right, let's multiply. Now remember, when I multiply, I just multiply the things inside together. So it's 5 times the square root of 150. 10 times 15 is 150. So that's 2 times 75, which is 3 times 25, which is 5 times 5. So buddy up with the 5s. A 5 already out there combined with the 5 coming out gets us a 25 total. And then the 2 and the 3 going back together to make my 6. Okay, here's number 13. Same thing here. 15y12. 15 times 12 is 180. Y times y is y squared. I square root it. Okay, so that's 2 and 90. 2 and 45. That's 5 times 9. That's 3 times 3. So I got a buddy of 3's and a buddy of 2's. So 6 coming out and a y coming out. Left with a 5 on the inside. 6y radical 5. All right, keep writing down those answers. Now, remember, when I multiply this, when I've got just a radical on the outside and addition in the inside, this is when I distribute. This is not necessarily a foiling yet. I'm just distributing. So this is going to get me a 4 radical 35. Remember, you multiply things inside with things inside. 4 radical 35 plus the square root of, distribute again, 49. Now make sure you reduce that radical out. That's 4 radical 35 plus 7. All right, now I multiply this together. Now this I have to FOIL. So I take firsts, radical 36, outer, minus 5 radical 6, inner, another minus 5 radical 6, last. Negative 5 times negative 5, positive 25. So this gets me a 6. This is negative 5 and negative 5 make negative 10 plus 25. So I combine the 6 and the 25 to make a 31 minus 10 radical 6. Okay. Let's keep it moving. This is when I have to rationalize. Remember, the rules were, can I reduce this fraction 5 over 3? No. Can I break it down at all using any factor trees? No, these are both prime. Well, in that case, remember the rule is to rationalize the denominator, I multiply by the radical in the denominator to the numerator and denominator. So that means this is 5 times 3 is 15. This would be radical 9, but remember you can jump that straight to 3. Same type of thing here, but I can reduce that fraction. See, the 4 stays on the top, and I've got 10 over 6, which ends up being 5 over 3. So you reduce each one by 2, 5 over 3. So I again rationalize with the 3, and that gives me 4 radical 15 all over just a 3. Okay. Last couple problems here. Now we're going to solve equations. Remember, isolate the radical before you start taking any squares. Excuse me. So I've got the radical 3x is equal to 9. I square the opposite side. This gets me a 3x is equal to 81. Don't divide by 3 first. The radical's isolated. Now you square the opposite side. Now you divide by 3. So x is equal to 27. Okay, that's my answer. Check my answer. Radical 3 times 27, is that 9? Well, 3 times 27 is 81. Typing it in my calculator here. Is the square root of 81 9? That checks out. Taking a look at 19. Don't subtract 5 first. The radical's isolated. You can't break in the house. So we square the opposite side. That gives me a 4x plus 5 is equal to 7 squared, which is 49. Now I can subtract the 5. Now I can divide by 4. X is 11. Let's check that answer. 4 times 11 plus 5. Is that 7? Well, 4 times 11, that's 44. 44 plus 5 is 49. Is the square root of 49 7? Yeah, it does check out. Last problem. Last problem of the last practice test. Okay, since it's the last problem of the last practice test of the last video, let's do something special here. So here's your test, right? Here's your name, Blake. I know I've done stars, I've done smiley faces. Here's what I would like you to do. In the bottom left-hand corner, because if you notice when your hand paper's back, I put like the score in the bottom left-hand corner. In the bottom left-hand corner, if you draw a circle down there where I would do that, I'll give you a bonus point for that. Okay, for all of my long haulers, for all of my people watching the whole video, proud of you. All right, so now I've got the square root on both sides. So I square the both sides. That's going to just break open the house. 3y plus 3, y plus 9. Right? If you got a square root on either side, you just open them up, set them equal. Get rid of the little guy, the 1y. That gives me a 2y plus 3 is equal to 9. I subtract the 6. Oh, what the what? Subtract the, look at the last problem, and I'm making mistakes. Subtract the 3 to get a 6. And now we divide by 2 to get the 3. Let's double check our answer. So that would be a 3 times 3 plus 3. So that would be a 9 plus 3, square root of 12. And this is just 3 plus 9, square root of 12. That checks out. So one last thing just to make sure that you guys know what's going to be on this test. This test is just over sections 11.6 through 11.9. Now, you have a quiz over section 11.6 and 11.7, okay? So study that tonight as well as this practice test, okay? So make sure you study those two things tonight. Again, I'm going to be telling the sub that I'm going to give them an answer key to make sure that they can verify that you actually did your work there. All right. Hopefully, I'll be back on Friday. I'm assuming I'll be back on Friday. I just feel like poop tonight, so decided to stay home. All right. Have a great day, everybody. See ya.